And so that's brutal. I mean, it's very high risk and high reward. And what I get with Theo is right. I mean, you know, if we go to home affairs, you go to the front of the queue, the guys fly, we're flying overseas next week to play, we're going to play, and guys are in business class. A ticket probably wants to cost close to 100k, 80k. There's not many of us or anybody who can justify for say a few hours sleep to spend 100,000 rand. It's a possibility. Those guys get used to it. The cell phone bill thing. And and it's a very high reward, you know, that feeling of everybody knows you, likes you. Your share price trades every week, and it's brutal. You know, you have 3 bad games, you get the concussion that nobody talks about. You get, you know, the sport requires, you know, you need to, I'll tell you the 2 things. You need a party trip, which I'll come back to, and you need just good luck. That timing, you know. So presumably I got called into a Stellenbosch. I've made those phone calls. I'm trying to think of somebody, you know, we get a lot of credit from Marnie Libok, for example. It wasn't any romantic story or vision or anything like that. We could afford something. He was sort of available, unhappy playing on the wing at the Sharks. We saw a flyer for could play a little bit flat. Came to us, it was a disaster. He wasn't good enough. We played one game in Germany, it was dreadful in the rain. And, you know, Darby, we said, oh, we've made a mistake there. And I said, we can't drop money. I said, well, why? He said, why not? I said, okay, Wellington and Simpson are injured. There's nobody else. He plays next week. He plays a brilliant game. And then the Marnie Limbo stories are something that, I mean, Theo's right about the second. It's not common, not called something. But he was there, he was in the room, he was tired, his timing was good, he was professional. So what I said, if you haven't got a party trick, no, I don't mean by that. There's something that gets you in the room. So Gio would have that when they saw that when he went from the first one, his step or his speed, or he would have been something like that. A lot of guys got that, you know. And it might not even be something like a high skill thing. It's got to be like if you think I'm Peter left the tour, you know, he can't pass, certainly can't step, can't really tackle. He's sort of slung. That's very effective. You know, I try to think he's not a great carrier. It's useful. But his body trick is just his endurance, how he just keeps going. It's the machine, like that. It's world player, that's his body trick. But once you got that, so that'll get you into a change room. I think if you haven't got anything to bring, give up now. And I really don't need brutal. Go and live in a dream. Go and play, say to yourself, listen, that's it, I'm going to play club rugby for Roses, or the Bella Vista, or Villages in the Cave, whatever you want. That's absolutely fine. But if you haven't got some sort of party trick, honestly, it's not worth it. You're going to be disappointed. Once you've got into the room, and that's often about, you know, timing, as I said, timing. It's a big part of it, just good luck. I'll tell you how I became a professional coach, and it's a very short story. I was coaching the Ikeys, and Sean was coaching Stellenbosch. Rusty was the director of rugby at the Stormers. And he would ask us, because some contract players were playing club rugby for us, like Theo said in those days, the guys played for the university. And Rusty wanted to know how the guys had gone on a Saturday. I can't remember who the guys were. I've really gone blank, but it was some contract. And wouldn't be many, would be one, so easy to write a report. So Stellenbosch probably had 12. But I replied to Rusty an email, and Sean didn't reply. And Rusty said, well, I need somebody for 21, I'll take a guy to the decency for reply. So it was just purely luck, nothing, timing, being there with my hands. So the other part is once you're in the change room, it's up to you how long you stay there. Now I know he's a living example, Chesman Colby's a living example. I don't know one now, Marnie Libok, I don't know one player now who's really successful, who isn't incredibly professional, incredibly coachable. And that coachability thing, and he said, it's constantly humble, you're constantly a sort of servant of your craft. I don't know one player who's good, that we think, who's not talking about rugby. It's changed a lot since my day as your younger days as a younger coach, or even my days as a player, where the guys were just the game, the party, get through training, go home. And it was a big part of the Stormers culture here. I think when you were there, you would have seen some guys with that mindset. Lekker to live in Cape Town, lekker to play Newlands, in the crowd, and it's crazy, and they're good players, really good players. But those days don't exist anymore. These guys are humble before their craft. What I mean, they constantly want to learn. What you hear said about learning from other players, you know, And it's not, if I look at a guy like Maitland for Shear, there's going to be this Dion, Marnie, they just want to learn and know more and talk rugby. And that's nice, you can be balanced and everything like that. But once you're in that room, it's that coachability, We want to coach, we only want to keep guys in the room if they ask if somebody doesn't know their detail. We ran a play today in training, and it's a move, it was scored against the Bulls often. It's called a bill. And one to see Similani was meant to clean a breakdown there. He didn't, he drifted. And he didn't come to the break. It was Marnie, you should have seen Marnie. To Marnie, it's a deal breaker. The guy doesn't know his detail like that. So they sort of sorted it out and they're fine now. But that stuff about that coachability. If you tell somebody, you write it, look quite many guys write it down, they know it. That they guys understand what you're trying to do with the project. That stuff. That is what keeps you in the room. And then you just stay there, and then you develop where you will have, your party trick must always be, that's what's going to make a difference. And you bring up the other stuff. And he would have had the same experience in this, where there was high balls and you wouldn't practice it, you play Stellenbosch 13 or whatever it was. That stuff you build up, but that coachability. And what I say, what you're thinking about your craft, that is what keeps every single guy that we have conversations about. If we think a guy is disrespectful to the craft or to his teammate or to our project, which in our case is to make Cape Town smile, if the guy doesn't fit into those values, then you're gone, then you're not going to make it. So that side of, those are the sort of the key elements. Now, when it comes to player studying and stuff like that, I'm probably not as I want everybody to be right after it. The conversations I've had a couple already, and a couple more coming up. One of these guys are terrible. They're awful. So I want everybody to be alright. You just want the guy to be. Because there's no ways, rugby's still got a lot of its old values. You have a team and how tight you are. It exists in all the teams. I mean, it's not a sport where players, to our mind, are just commodities. You've got to remember that every player is somebody's child. Or in some cases, the guys got kids, and how do I want them to be okay. Now, the ideal, of course, is these chaps studying. So it doesn't guarantee you a job. But I think if I was a parent, you wouldn't encourage the guy. The right way to approach the journey, that desperateness isn't always a good motivation. So, what I mean by desperateness, we've got a guy called Billy Engelbrecht, the one that carried Kappa Company. Billy is not playing much now because there's some really good loose forwards. And he's moved down, he's got 2 kids. The family story is his dad got killed on the night before they played the Bulls, so he wanted to be around for the Pumas. And he's still playing them the next day. And my heart goes out to Billy. Every week we've got to play with a squad of 57 people. Maybe 10 or 12, 15 in each, I don't know. 20, so you've got 20 guys every week. I'm telling you, it's not good enough. So my heart goes out. I'm trying to get to the point. My heart goes out to Billy. He's so desperate. Now we put him on against the Dragons. The first ball he comes, he wants to make a big hit, he gets stripped. Or he wants to make it, he charges out to make a big hit, and because he's gone so far out, he can't track in time, he gets stepped. And it's just a train crash. The right way to my way to approach it, and the Theo's story resonates with me, is, do everything you can. I say, master the craft, train, be professional, all that stuff you can. But know that there's a sort of another plan. Not necessarily study. A father says to the kid, listen, I can use you to 25. If you haven't done about 25, then you come and join me at the workshop, or on the farm, or then you must go somewhere else. Not to have all that pressure, all that eggs in that basket, because as the point was well made, it's one concussion away from a disaster. So, I see these guys now. Most of the guys are okay because rugby also teaches a hell of a lot of good things. Like whether there is some form of discipline, some sort of self-start. And most importantly, probably the easiest, a massive contact base. So I'm taking a random name now because he's not in this basket, but if Scurry to be, he's probably got an easier job than the average chance of getting a job. And the average guy who comes from Dale, who hasn't studied like he has, he's probably got a scupper and got a chance. So that's helpful. But you can't put the eggs completely into this bowl. It's just an impossibility So some of the guys, like I was very pro coming from a university background where I coached and studied and that, everybody has studied. Some guys can't. I mean, if I try and put a book in front of Andre Smith, he's going to read it like this. He doesn't know the top, but it's upside down or not. But we do have a responsibility to get up there, because he hasn't got, it's funny how it's the understanding, a hell of an important part of coaching now is understanding everybody's backstory. But Marnie is playing just for money. That doesn't make him a bad person. It makes him a good person. He's trying to provide for a family, a whole new, women's talk, so I don't have to worry. But Marnie is a women's talk, and that's all he's playing for. Great. He's going to change. He's like his Christopher. He'll change at 8, 10, 12, 15 people's lives. You've got a guy called Kenny Marabi, what's his name? And it's going to be a sensation. He's from Kwakwa. He's got nothing. He hasn't seen his dad since he was 3. Got no money. But he's playing rugby because he's a warrior. That's his sport. You know, he wants to stuff people up. That they pay it, and then he can help support his mum. Great. That's a bonus. But everybody's got their own reasons for playing. So part of that is coaching, because we have to understand it. Some of these privileged guys that come through, wild boys, they play rugby because they grew up with it as an enjoyment. Everyone else, I think, was just in his DNA. You grew up, you go wild, and you play rugby for enjoyment. And that's just his passion. He's lucky enough. He's lucky enough to do that. But I think all of us have to understand, as coaches, we have to understand their backstory, and we have to make sure the guys are sort of. I can't control those guys. I'm not going to go around. We can try and phone somebody. We can see if somebody can give somebody a job like we do. Speak to us at Intercape to see if they need a propose for a drive. I mean, I'll give you some story. Right? I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. Like the Hilton Roberts story to me. I think here you play with Hilton. I can't speak of a player highly enough like I can with Dobson. And the system was brutal. They made him a Springbok at 19 in 2006 at Twickenham. And you can suppose why he was a Springbok. That sort of thing in those times, a very different country then. It was really, 2006 very different before 1994, very different country to hopefully what we are in now. But the system spat him out. The years that Grit was Pune, was Storm, was Bulls. There was Bulls there when he got capped. Now he's a dyslexic guy, and he's gone exactly that journey now. I can't speak where I've got real insight to where Hilton is now. It's not an easy place, and that's how brutal the system. Hilton should have been looked after. So the system, you can't rely on the system. It's too, our jobs. I can say, if I can call, we've got a board meeting on Thursday. Luckily, we're in an okay position, but. They called me and said, listen, you've lost these amount of games, and our cards dropping, we're losing this much, and we've got to cut 5 million of the budget. I'm not going to say, help, I helped Achille get a degree. It doesn't work like that. No, it's just purely result-based. And that's how I started, by saying it's so brutal. So your responsibility to the players, or to a parent, or whatever, is to say, be realistic, has my kid got some sort of party trick, something we can build the dream on. And it doesn't matter his own condition, that stuff can get fixed, but there's something there. Some form of toughness or skill. And then understanding, and that's where he can be educated, is that once he's in the room, he can stay there. And those are the values to be probably the professionalism, the buying into a team culture, understanding the sport. In cricket, you're lucky enough, you can be like Darryl Cullen, a complete prick. Go and score, when you score 330 runs, you're not going to be in the team next week, you can't get dropped. But if you in rugby, it's not like that. As a team, you want to see guys who understand that fit into the team, and it's a element. It's just, I think rugby's matured a lot. Maybe in the 80s and 90s, you could have a big name, or trying to do the bad without getting. The Mavericks who didn't care about the team, all about themselves, and that sort of. It really isn't. And that team culture becomes so important now. You guys are going to be stupid examples late or not know in detail, but they're just going to get spat out. So that's how keeps you the chain. So that's pretty much something from my side. I think another point which we're about to have a long conversation with Shafiq or here made. Don't get deterred by I think the Craven Week and that process is incredibly lazy. And what I mean by that is, I might have got better now. We certainly we've got a long way to go in Western Province, but the guys play under 30, and that's because they grew quickly and that sort of thing, but they get the tracksuit. They invest on it, it looks later. Then when under 16 selectors, the easiest thing is to choose under 13 guys, because we know them. We know somebody's in the system, that's Walker who is choosing. And then when under 16 played Ron Coma, well then he's the first guy in the trials for Grade Week, and they go the whole way through like that. And here's right, I mean, that's just that percentage of, I reckon the Grade Week SS Schools percentage to Springbok is embarrassingly low. I think it must be, I didn't used to know this, you work it out. But I probably, it must be, it's below 1%. It can't be much more, maybe it's 1%. But that laziness of that, so that don't read anything to that. It's more about staying in the fight, whether it's a varsity cup or a club, or being brave enough to go to the quiz. There's guys, it's not a nice, may not be a thing, but there are guys there who go on to all sorts of things just because they get onto the vision, they're prepared to go to Kimberley and make the sacrifice. So at Craven Week, there are actually more safety nets than there used to be, which is good because all our eggs were in one basket, and like something like Varsity Cup provides a massive opportunity. And we do look, we all of us, it's our egos or we want to find the next time. You want to find that success. You want to have the Mani Lord or achieve the Mani stories or the Everhus, how you pronounce it. Everhus. You want to have those stories. So don't panic. That mustn't panic. You'd rather go on the assessment that I made earlier, where you've got some sort of party trick, and if you stay in the fight, but just know that there's a bailout. If there isn't a bailout, then I think it's no matter how talented you are, it's very, very risky. I mean, a guy like Mani, who I've got so much respect for, he's got his eggs are in this basket. The people depending on it. It's highly pressured, and it's not for something I'd say it's a healthy position for somebody to be in. He's one ACL or something away from probably ending back in Tiger within Tiger Wingstop. Hopefully he's got enough money now, and look, I think he's really responsible. And then the other point was what Cleo was saying about the money. There's a Springbok who left us. I can't name him for just out of respect, but he came from I don't want to say too specifically, but from a township near the airport, and now he's spent he's lived according to his earnings. So he's not a little Stormers anymore, he's another franchise, but a good franchise. And he's got a BMW house, and it's nice. And I've been to his house when we played away against them. And one of the dearest players I coached. So my mom died earlier this year, and he came to the funeral. Sort of top guy. But I can't. He has not played for the Springboks anymore. I can't give him a contract. He was contracted as a Springbok at that level. His contract, he said, please can you take me back? It's going to be a third of what he got. He can't afford to come back. And so he's actually in real trouble. The problem is he's not looking at generational wealth. And Cleo's did right about this generation now of so-called coloured people with respect, having the position to accumulate. Obviously the so-called white people had several more generations to get that. But those guys haven't got it. Especially the black guys, they are starting out in that respect. So there's no generational wealth, and you just don't know how the story is going to end. And that petrifies me, and it's cut me in the back, saying, listen, Mr. X, I can't help you. What I can do is try and put you in touch with, you trying to bail me out with a couple of guys at the moment, try and put you in touch with somebody who would care about you, who can try and get you something in major leagues. But I mean, you're going from a 3 million Springbok to a 300,000 rand Springbok playing in Houston. Tough, right? Yeah, so that's I'd rather ask him specific questions, but those two qualities are really